Hi guys, welcome to my channel RSK Training. I'm Ranjit, your Excel trainer. Before we begin, let's take out a moment to praise our Indian Army, to salute our army. Jai Hind. And now to the regular Excel business. So first of all, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do it right now. You may want to pause your video and go ahead and subscribe it. Don't forget to click the bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you can get notified of updates whenever they happen. So let us have some questions from the first two sessions which I had uploaded, Excel session 1 and Excel facts session. The links of both the sessions are in the below video, below comments description. So let's begin with a question from Excel session 1. What's the small button that you are seeing over here? I'm moving on my mouse rapidly so that you can see it. So can you tell me what's the small button? Yes, it's called the ribbon display options, wherein you can hide the ribbon, show tabs, or show tabs and commands. Right, now taking one from my first session, which was Excel facts. Do you know how many columns are there in Excel? I know everyone knows about the rows. There are about 1,48,576 rows. But do you know the number of columns? Yes, they are A to XFD, but what in numbers? Yes, it's 16,384. Okay, with that we begin today's Excel session. And as I told you in my earlier sessions that I would be covering some formulas and editing data today. Now, why formulas? Well, what's the difference between MS Word and MS Excel? Well, without formulas, Excel would have been a word processing document only, with some fancy tables and all. So there would not be much of a difference. But due to formulas, Excel is a bit faster and a bit more complex. So Excel is all about formulas and formulas only. So what are formulas? What are formulas? So some of you might know programming and might have heard about it or done something. So like we write a code in programming in the code window. Similarly, we write a small code in a cell, and that's a formula. So ideally, when you add two numbers or subtract two numbers or do any calculation, there are also codes. So formula is nothing but a code. So a formula can be a mathematical can contain mathematical operators. It can be cell references. It can be some values or text. It can be worksheet functions. So let's see what they are. When I say it can be a mathematical operator, I mean the plus or the multiplication or the minus sign. So we can write equal to, say, 100 multiplied by, say, 8. So that's a formula including a mathematical operator. Now coming to cell references, say in column J I have 1, 2 and so on till 10. So if I put an equal to here and give a reference to this cell, so it's a cell reference. Ideally, I can also give names to these, which I will come to later on, and I can include them in the formulas. But you can simply understand, or I can do this: A1 plus J1 plus J2 plus J3. These are also formulas with mathematical operators. Then coming to values and text, I can write in India. It's a text, and these are values which I have written. Coming to worksheet functions, I press J2 plus J2 J1 plus J2 plus J3. Instead of that, I can write simple sum of these all numbers. That's a worksheet function, and similarly I can write an average, right? So you might see the cell in which I have written this B7. It's shows me the result of the cell, that's a formula, whereas in the formula bar I can see the entire formula. Okay, I mentioned named ranges, or here you see cell references include names, cell and ranges. So when I pressed sum of J2, J1 to J10, I included this range, and now say these are numbers and I give it a name. So I click here and simply write numbers, and I can simply write is equal to numbers, and it'll count the numbers. Or if I want the sum, I can simply write sum of numbers. It did not take because I did not press tab here. Right, got it. Okay, so now you might have seen that every formula which I have written begins with an equal to sign. So when I put an equal to sign, Excel understands that I am going to write a formula, and so it prepares itself for some calculations. Okay, now coming to the first one, mathematical operators. So like I told you, we have plus, minus, multiplication, and what was the other one? In school, we studied in school, divide. That was two dots between, I mean, in a small minus sign, or a small line between two dots. That was divide. However, in Excel, a slash is called a divide. And then we have less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, and we have the exponential sign, which is shift 6, and the and sign. Plus, minus, equal to, and divide, everyone knows. Greater than, less than, this everyone knows. Exponential is like you write anything to the power of anything. Supposing I say 2 to the power of 6, which is what, 64, and ampersand to join two numbers. See, I have here Excel functions, so I can simply write is equal to Excel and functions. So it gives me Excel functions. This is what and is all about. Concatenate, and it's called concatenate in Excel. Okay, so now since we are studying mathematical operators, I'm sure in school you might have learned about this BODMAS method. Have you? I have. So when we talked about the Bodmas method, my teacher used to say me Badmash, which means Badmash is an Hindi term, so it means naughty in English. So like you see Badmas, Bodmas. So it means bracket of division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. So when how this is the order in which my function is going to execute. So we will the first thing which will be executed is bracket. So whatever is inside brackets would be executed first, and then we will go for division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. Bracket. Okay, when we study mathematics in school, this thing here was called a bracket. However, in Excel this is not called a bracket. Instead it is called a parenthesis. And like in school also, or also in every formula, be it algebra or be it trigonometry, intersection, whatever, a bracket, an opening bracket had to be followed by a closing bracket. Similarly, every opening parenthesis has to be followed with a closing parenthesis. Okay. Here I would like to show you something that if I have written, say, J1 plus J2 multiplied by J3 added by J4. So this is my formula. So you see, when you're trying to edit it, all the bracket, the closing, this closing and opening bracket are highlighted in red, and this one is in black. So Excel helps you when you are editing a formula by coloring all the matching parentheses to in the same color. This reminds me of another thing, which is, say, this J1 is 1, so I will omit it and let me put it J4. J4 plus J2 into J3. Ideally now I can remove these parentheses and I put J4 plus J2 into J3, 18. So J4 is 4 and J2 is 2, 4, 4 6, 6 3s are 18. Now say supposing I forget to enter this parenthesis and just press an enter. Excel says we found a typo in your formula and tried to correct it to J4 plus J2 into J3. Do you want to accept this correction? So this is a warning for you. So it's not an error. It will still calculate if you press yes, but it's a warning and we need to study that warning before pressing yes or no. So if I press yes, it will give me 10 instead of the earlier one 18, because the bracket has shifted from here to here. So it is first calculating J2 into J3, which is 3 into 2 6, plus J4 6 plus 4 10, instead of like Bodmas method, first bracket has to be calculated, so bracket must be here. So we should be aware of this warning, and so we need to see this warning very carefully. Okay, now coming to some worksheet functions. Say I want to I want to sum this numbers 1 to 10. So ideally I will using mathematical operator I will put j1 plus j2 plus j3 and so on and so forth. Instead of that, I can simply put is equal to sum of these numbers. Okay, well, you've seen instead of giving it a range, it simply says numbers. That's because I had given this range a name of numbers. So I will first delete that range, and so now you can see that it gives me error of name. So I will simply delete it and select these things, sum of j1 to j10. Right, so you got using a function. Similarly, it goes with average. Say supposing you have to calculate the average of all these numbers. So what you can do mathematically is you can sum this all and you can divide it by 2, because I have summed 2 numbers. Or you can click sum of these divided by count of these. Again, I told you we have to be very careful about these parentheses one, because I omitted one here. So Excel gave me a warning that this is what it suggests. I'll simply press yes and the average comes to 0.1, which is not correct. So I will close my bracket over here and remove one from the last. I will press enter and the average is 5.5. Alternatively, I can just put an average and or select all the numbers. It will automatically give me the results 5.5. So there are various ways of doing that. Now let me just see this way, random of numbers. Now I want to find out the maximum of these numbers. Having a look at these, I can simply say that 0.95 is my maximum. But what if I have thousands of numbers? So it's difficult and it's not possible mathematically. So instead I have to I have to find out ways to do that. So instead I will do max of this. I press enter, it gives me the results. Similarly, I can do minimum of these, and it gives me the result. So moving on, this concatenate function I have already explained to you. So okay, let me write something here. Excel, Word, Access, Outlook, VBA, and so on and so forth. But when I give it to someone, it does not look presentable because all capital, or maybe say I want to send it in an email, so all caps is just like you are scolding the person. so you cannot sign in all caps. So either you have to correct them all manually, which is easier now because we have just 5 names, but when we have thousands and maybe 10,000 numbers or names, it becomes difficult. So in that case, there is a text formula in Excel which is proper of this. I will drag it till the bottom and I get the entire names. Okay, now another formula which is a very powerful formula in Excel. You might have heard about the if formula. It's a very powerful formula. Now my scenario here is that, say a salesperson, say my company appoints 10 different sales personals, and I say that, okay, if you do business more than 100,000 rupees, you will get a 6% of bonus amount with your salary, or if it's less than 100,000, then let me put it 3% of bonus salary. So all persons would try to do more. See, there are 2 salespersons with me, Amit and Anil, and say Amit does a business of, let me put it 65,000 rupees, and Anil does a business of 300,000. So ideally Anil should get 6% of what he deserves, and Amit should get 3% of bonus. So what I will do is I will put an if formula. If this is greater than this, then give me 6%, else give me 3%. Instead of this reference, or instead of everything, say I will simply put 100,000, then give me 6%, else give me, oh sorry, give me 6%, else give me 3%. I had to do it like this, M14 into or M14 into 3%. So Amit's commission is 1950, whereas Anil's commission goes up to 18,000. Supposing I change to 4%, okay, nothing happens because in my formula I had used static values. I'll come to that. Okay, now so what's an if function? M14 is greater than 100,000. That is the logical operator which I am doing, comparing 2 values. This is the first value if true, the second value is false. If I click this, Excel gives me help of the syntax. If logical test, value if true, value if false. And by default these are called arguments that I am passing through. Instead, if I did, instead of 6% here, I gave a reference to this one, Instead of 3% here, I gave a reference to this one. Instead of this 100,000, I gave a reference to this. So when I change it to 4%, the commission automatically increases to 2600. Now, as I told you, these are arguments that we are supplying. Arguments are sometimes called parameters. In Excel, though most of the formulas use arguments with them, either one argument, two or three, or multiple. Like you see, if I have written here the max formula, I have supplied an argument here. The min formula is an argument supplied here. Here also, when I use the sum formula or anything, I supplied an argument. So there are very less functions that don't use argument. So you might have heard about a now function. It doesn't use argument. It gives me the date and time of currently. Okay, there's yet another function, the sheets function, which also doesn't require any argument. Now, what does that sheets function does is it gives me the total number of sheets that I have. Okay, these are few formulas that we have used today. Do you know how many formulas are there in Excel? There are somewhere more than 450 formulas. And adding to that, Excel gives you an option that you can download or purchase third-party formulas, third-party functions, or you may create your own functions. That's possible in VBA macros, which we will study later on. You can have all these functions, or that makes somewhere around, 450 are built-in function, and suppose you have added 50 more functions, so we have 500 functions. But do we really need them? The answer is no, because you'll find everyone using just maybe 12, 15, 20 functions at the max. We don't use all the functions. They are there, everyone knows them. So okay, now that we are talking about functions and formulas, you might have seen the formulas that I used. I've used it because I remember it. Do you need to? No. You need not remember all the formulas or the formulas which are to be used. As soon as you press an equal to sign and begin typing something, there is a list of formulas. Like I typed in, let me type in somewhere here so that it's clearly visible. So as soon as press A and write A, Excel gives me a list of formulas beginning with A. I can narrow it down by going ahead. So as soon as I write in, Excel narrows down the formulas. So if I want to select average, I will just click on average, or maybe I'll press the cursor on average and press a tab button. So by default, my average is selected. Alternatively, you can click here, the insert function, and it gives you the hell lot of functions. You can just write in what you want and it will automatically select that function that you want. Press a go, and here this is the first function. I will press an OK, and another dialog box appears where I can put the numbers. And instead of calculating it after pressing OK, it will give me a calculation here itself. Okay. I think this is much of an information for today, and so I don't want to overload you with with much information. So then my next video would contain range names in them. So like I showed you that we can give names to, well we'll study later on, forget that. So just practice whatever we have covered today and in previous sessions, so that you may not find it difficult going forward. Okay, I hope you liked my video, and if you did, please click the like button below. I would like to repeat, please subscribe to my channel if you are not already done. If you have done, thank you for that, and don't forget to click the bell icon so that you get regular updates whenever I upload a new video. Again, I would say salute to my Indian Army. And yes, I did miss one thing. On this Friday, that's the 1st of March, 8 to 9 p.m. I would be live, so you may log in, or you may come to my channel and ask any question that you want to, or if you have any query regarding Excel, you may want to ask. Right? Thank you guys. Thank you so much for attending today's session. See you next time. Bye.